Hello, my name is Stephen Beckris. I am the Public Affairs Officer with the Chattahoochee-Oconee National Forest. Today, I am joined by Nathan Klaus, wildlife biologist with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. Today, Nathan's going to tell us about an upcoming prescribed fire located at the Tallulah Gorge State Park and Wildlife Management Area. Nathan, can you tell us a little bit about this burn?
Sure. Well, we've been burning at Tallulah Gorge for about a little bit more than a decade, and this burn unit is about 1,400 acres in size. Some of the really rugged country there on Tallulah Gorge, heavily forested area. The goals of the burn are going to be to try to reduce some of the wildfire hazards that are on the site. Tallulah Gorge has a long history of having wildfires, and so our prescribed fire is going to help minimize that risk. And then we of course also are managing for wildlife, and so our burn we're hoping to benefit some of the rare species, some of the rare communities there. Well, Tallulah Gorge has been burning for a very, very long time, thousands of years more than likely. There's pretty good evidence going back at least to the early 1800s that shows Tallulah Gorge has a fire history. The forests there are fire adapted, and so we have several species of tree there, pine trees, both table mountain pine and pitch pine, that require fire to open their pine cones. So that's how closely intertwined the forests and the wild lands of Tallulah Gorge are with fire. It's been burning for a very long time, and it wants to burn, it needs to burn, and it benefits from fire. And so that we're getting ready to put some fire back in the gorge for this spring of 2021 to help those forests.
So you mentioned we've been doing this for a while now. What are some of the effects and what are the objectives that we're trying to achieve there? What do we hope to achieve?
Okay. Yeah, so Tallulah Gorge, a little more than a decade ago, had undergone a pretty severe pine beetle infestation, and it had lost a lot of that rare forest type. The beetles had taken out a lot of the old trees, and the only trees that were left were old because it hadn't burned in so long. And so we wanted to make sure we didn't lose that rare forest type. So our burning has cleared out a lot of the underbrush. It's cleared out a lot of the competing species. It's created a seed bed for these rare or unusual forest types that need fire to open the cones and to reproduce. So we've got some pretty big open areas now that have been cleared of vegetation. We've got a lot of recruitment of some of these pine trees, and we've got a lot of herbaceous community coming in that's great for things like pollinators and turkey nesting sites and prairie warblers and all kinds of wildlife that depend on those things. So our goal for this year's burn is to just keep that momentum, to keep that progress moving forward, to try to recover as much of those forest types as we can.
During the day of the burn, what can the public expect to see?
Well, during the day of the burn, we're going to be on site early. We've already spent several days prepping the site, putting in fire breaks, dealing with dead trees along the fire break to make sure that it's going to be a really secure burn. The morning of, we're going to have a small army there, probably 30 or 40 firefighters are going to be involved in this operation. We'll have a brief at about probably 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and by about 11 or noon, there's going to be a pretty good smoke plume coming out of the state park and out of the WMA. It'll be visible from the highway and probably from several of the neighboring towns as we get going.
Is there anything the public can do to help or that you want them to know about?
Well, I think it's important that they understand that this is a really important part of land management in North Georgia and throughout Georgia. Prescribed fire is a critical tool. It's so important for keeping our homes safe, for keeping our public lands safe, and it's so important for keeping rare species and wildlife just in general healthy and prosperous. And so, I'd invite anybody who wants to see this, and it is quite a spectacle, to come visit the park. There's a great overlook that's a very safe distance away from the controlled burn where they can watch the gorge burn. In the evening especially, it's one of the more beautiful things I think that you might see on the park when the fire is glowing in the gorge and it looks like thousands of campfires. It's really something to see, and it's mesmerizing. It's beautiful. It's a natural thing. And I think one thing that surprises a lot of people is just how peaceful and beautiful fire on the land is. Good fire isn't the sort of raging things that we see on the news that destroy homes and shatter lives. Good fire is a beautiful thing, and it's just like the rain on in the spring. It's something that moves across the land and is natural and is beneficial and benevolent. And I think anybody who sees that from the overlooks of the gorge would appreciate what I'm saying. It's a remarkable spectacle.
Great. Well, thank you, Nathan, for sharing this information with us today. If people would like to learn more, they can visit either the Georgia Department of Natural Resources website or the Chattahoochee-Oconee National Forest Facebook page or website at www.fs.usda.gov/CONF. Thank you, Nathan, for being here, and appreciate all the information.